Welcome to our concluding and much anticipated episode in the series How CXOs Can Leverage Generative AI. You have stayed with us throughout and we appreciate it. Our inspiring episodes with CXOs, CTO, CMO and CHRO is live. If you haven't watched it, please check the links in the description. You just cannot miss how different verticals can take a big jump with minimum efforts using generative AI. We have learned from experts in different domains. And today we have the privilege of learning from our founder and CEO, Mr. Bhavesh Goswami. Welcome Bhavesh, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So let's dive right in. So generative AI is like this new kid in the block. It has transformed the business landscape. So how would you define this technology and how is it different from all the other AI?
Sure. So as we know that AI has been there for a very long time. It's not a new technology. But so far what AI was really good at was that it was able to do good predictions, good analysis of the data. For example, we had AI system that could predict the stock prices, could predict diseases, right? Could look at code and predict, where the issues could be and suggest, recommend the developer where he should look at to fix those things, right? So those are the older AI systems. The generative AI is a new kid in the block, where it can generate new content, generate new stuff.
So moving on to that, aspect. So how will generative AI, change the way we perceive and use content?
In terms of generating new content, or for example a painting, right? We have some really great painters who are no longer with us, Picasso, Dali. Generative AI could learn their style and could generate new paintings for us, right? I think recently there was this kind of a bit of controversy, if you remember, that somebody used AI to record a song, generate a brand new song in the voice of Weekend, who is a very popular singer, right? So imagine that, and I think they got some 2-3 million people listening to it on Spotify before people recognized this was generated by AI, and they had to take it down, right? So imagine the possibilities, right? I mean, with be able to generate net new content, I think that's a huge game changer. We have never had such technology with us, and I'm very excited to see how humanity will use this technology, and I hope that we use it for our betterment of the humanity.
So those were some very strong points, and I really like the point on how AI will revolutionize content. But don't you think it can be a threat? In terms of jobs. So even in terms of a content person or a person who writes code.
If you look at the history of the revolution, right from the industrial revolution to the IT revolution that have happened, right? What we have seen is that if you take just 150, 200 years ago, about I would say 90+% of the people were related to farming, were doing farming. Because our primary job was to grow food so that we don't die of hunger, right? And humanity in general was focused on farming. With the industrial revolution and the machines coming in, the tractors coming in, all that percentage of farmers have decreased drastically, right? But it doesn't mean that people don't have jobs, right? What we are able to do is that now that we have to focus less on that one task, the free time was utilized for other industries, right? And it gave birth to a lot of new industries like automobile, or space, right? And kind of IT in a way, right? Because those free time was used to develop this new industry. Similarly, I think what will happen is if you look at our kind of job market right now, I think a lot of people are still stuck in doing a lot of repetitive, automatable tasks. And what I think generative AI will do is that it will free up the mankind from those repetitive tasks that is not really providing a lot of value, right? And can be done maybe easily with generative AI. And my sincere hope is that, and I think it's been shown by history that the humans then will use their time to do something bigger, better, to push humanity even forward, right? And to kind of focus on what is important for us, like maybe climate change, or going to Mars, or exploring more space and things like that, right? So I think it will, while I understand that some jobs will go away because of generative AI, but I think it will also create a lot of net new jobs that we don't even know, that we can't even fathom right now.
Okay, another thing that struck me a lot in your entire conversation was the entire weekend episode that happened. So don't you think that's like an infringement to copyrights? So doesn't generative AI also raise such potential issues?
So I think that the ethics of AI, I think, is going to be a very important point going forward. I think if you look at Microsoft already has an ethics for AI, kind of book available. I think they have the template for that, and they put a lot of emphasis on that. In India as a country, we are now looking at what it means to have, what it means to inculcate ethics into the AI. Because we never had this challenge. Like, for example, if you were an author and I read your books, right, and then I wrote my own book inspired from your writings, then in a traditional sense, it was not considered a copy. Because I adore you and I'm kind of taking some of your writing style, but I'm creating net new content. But now imagine if AI, but it would not be possible for a human to do that in just a split of a second. Right? It would take me years to study your material, to read your books, to kind of experiment with different styles and then come up with a new style of my own which has flavor of your style. But AI can do that within a day. You can just look at your writing, run the model, optimize the model and generate a net new novel based on your 5 novels, right? So the ethics, it will be very interesting to see how we as humanity kind of work with those ethics, and I think ethics in AI is going to be a big thing going forward.
Moving on to our next question now. So we have seen corporates jumping onto this bandwagon of generative AI. We've seen the extent to which how disruptive this technology can be. So how can corporates take advantage of this technology?
Great. So, you've just mentioned that, but just to give you a stat on this, that it took Netflix multiple years to reach to 1 million users. Facebook, who grew like wildfire, right? As we all know and probably have seen the movie about that as well, took them 8 months. Instagram, which we think was an overnight success, took them 2.5 months to reach to 1 million users. And ChatGPT reached 1 million users in 5 days. That unheard of before, right? I think nobody has, no application in the history of mankind has reached 1 million users so fast by a huge margin. So it's everywhere, and definitely people are using it for a variety of things. As an enterprise, I think that let's start from IT, because those guys created AIs and they'll be probably most impacted. We look at IT, there are systems like, for example, GitHub has Copilot, which is generative AI part of GitHub. So when a user uses Copilot, they have something like an assistant where they can write prompt to generate code for them. They can also kind of ask for documentation or sample code or something like that. So when GitHub did research, right, that how do developers who use Copilot, what is the stat behind it, right? Are they writing faster code or better code, something like that? What was really surprising is that the metric, which was the kind of most profound metric, was that the developer satisfaction increased by up to 80-85%. Every enterprise probably who has developers would probably want some form of generative AI technology. If they're using GitHub, they probably want to use GitHub Copilot so that the developers are more productive. And I'm sure that other platforms will come with those generative stuff. If you talk about marketing and marketing functions and sales functions, like we discussed before, writing customized emails for the customers. Even if you have 1 million customers, you can write a different email to each and every customer depending on your interactions and what you know about them. That's a great benefit to have. You talk about HR, right? Even in HR, a lot of time goes in writing policies, generating policies, enhancing policies, writing emails for particular policy violations or breaches or things like that, right? And those all can be automated to generative AI. If you look at things like operations. In operations, you have to frequently create checklists, reports, and so forth, and those can be created automatically by generative AI, right? So I think that it will definitely touch each and every aspect of a corporation, and I think the way companies function will be completely upended in the next 7 to 2 years.
So Bhavesh, those were some great stats. 1 million subscribers in just 5 days. That's great for ChatGPT. Even I like the examples that you shared about the integration of Copilot and the GPT model. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. We have heard of how enthusiastic you are about this technology, about artificial intelligence, about machine learning, and now generative AI as it's brand new. So can you tell me how you have been contributing to this technology?
Absolutely. So you rightly mentioned my master's in computer science. My specialization was AI and ML way back in 2001 through 3. So been in this field for a very long time, and you're absolutely right that I love talking about it. I love discussing about it. Like they say, charity begins at home. So at CloudAd, we have created a virtual team of various professionals to make sure that we can evaluate how we can use generative AI inside of CloudAd for tech, for sales, pre-sales, and so forth, marketing and so forth. Also, CloudAd is in partnership with Microsoft, is having a couple of series. One is a webinar series, and the other one is a masterclass, which will be available free to anybody around the world. So I request everybody to take advantage of that. Follow CloudAd in whatever social media that you engage with, and make sure that you get the notification about that webinars and master series about generative AI. We're going to be discussing, deep diving on various segments. So one might be about how HR can use generative AI, how CXOs can use, how CTOs can use, how CHRO can use generative AI, right? So we'll focus on various segments and the use cases of generative AI. So you can go watch, learn, and do that. And also, like I was mentioning, that I'm very passionate to talk about generative AI and AI in general. So any business leaders that want to have a discussion, send me a note on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to have a chat with you on generative AI.
We hope this video was insightful. Hit the bell icon and follow our pages for similar content.